If I handed you $10,000 today, what would you actually do with it? Most people think stocks, crypto, maybe a house someday, and then they freeze, and the money just sits there, slowly losing value to inflation. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I'd invest my first $10,000 in 2026, step by step, like you're sitting right beside me and we're doing it together. Stay to the end, because I'll also show you what this plan could realistically grow to over time, and how even smaller amounts can follow the exact same blueprint. I'm not a Wall Street genius. I'm just someone who used to be scared to even open my banking app. I've made dumb mistakes, putting money into random stocks because someone online said it would moon, letting cash sit in a regular savings account, earning basically nothing, ignoring debt, and then wondering why I felt broke every month. This video is the plan I wish someone had handed me when I was starting from scratch. Before we touch that $10,000, let's get one thing very clear. Investing is not about looking smart. It's about building a boring, repeatable system that quietly makes you wealthier in the background. So everything I'm going to show you today is beginner friendly, doesn't require you to watch the market all day, and is focused on the next 10 plus years, not the next 10 days. And yes, you can use this same plan whether you have $500, 5,000, or 50,000. 10,000 is just an easy number to show you the math. Step 0. Check your foundation. Imagine trying to build a house on mud. That's what investing looks like when you have no savings and high interest debt. So before I invest my first $10,000 in 2026, I'd do a quick foundation check. Question 1. Do I have at least a small emergency fund? That's usually around $1,000 to start, eventually 3 to 6 months of expenses. This money belongs in a high-yield savings account, not in stocks or crypto. Question 2. Do I have high-interest debt above roughly 10 to 15%? Credit cards, buy now, pay later, store cards. If yes, I'd throw some of this money at that first, because a 20% interest rate is basically negative investment. Here's how I'd handle it. If I had no starter emergency fund, I'd park $1,000 of that $10,000 in a high-yield savings account first. If I had any debt above around 15 to 20% interest, I'd put $2,000 to $4,000 toward that, depending on how bad it is. So in a realistic scenario, maybe after this step, I'm left with about $6,000 to $8,000 to actually invest. Note, for this video, I'll assume the foundation is solid and we still have the full 10,000. Just to keep the math clean, adjust the percentages to your own situation. Step 1. Decide the job of this money. Money needs a job. If it has no job, it just wanders off. So I'd ask one simple question. What is this $10,000 for? Is it for retirement 20 to 30 years from now? For a house down payment in 5 to 10 years? Or just, I want to start investing and see it grow? If my timeline is at least 10 years, I'd invest more aggressively in things like stock index funds and ETFs. If my timeline is shorter, I'd go a bit more cautious. Note, for this video, I'll assume a long-term goal, 10 plus years. Step 2. The simple portfolio. Now let's talk about what I'd actually buy. If I'm a beginner in 2026, I'm not trying to pick individual stocks. I'm going to use broad market index funds, or ETFs, basically baskets of hundreds of companies wrapped into one simple investment. Here's a simple 3-part structure I'd use for this $10,000. 60%. Broad Stock Index Fund. This is a fund that tracks something like the total stock market or a major index. It gives me ownership in hundreds or thousands of companies in one move. 20%. International Index Fund. This spreads my risk across different countries and economies outside my home market. 20%. Bond or safer asset fund. This is there to smooth out the ride, so every market dip doesn't feel like the end of the world. With $10,000, that looks like this. 6,000 into a broad stock index fund, 2,000 into an international fund, 2,000 into a bond fund. If that still feels too complicated, I could even start with one single balanced all-in-one fund that already mixes everything for me. The key idea here is simple. I'm diversified from day one, even with my first 10,000. Step 3. Which accounts to use? The where you invest is almost as important as the what. Here's how I'd think about accounts in 2026. First, I'd check if I have access to any employer retirement account with a match, like a 401k style plan. That match is free money, plain and simple. Next, I'd look at tax-advantaged accounts, retirement accounts, or registered savings plans depending on your country, for long-term investing. After that, I'd use a regular brokerage account for any extra investment I want flexibility on. So, for this 10,000, I might put part of it into a retirement account using that same simple index fund structure, and the rest into a regular brokerage so I can access it more easily if life happens. The exact split depends on your country and tax rules, but the principle is the same. Use tax-advantaged accounts for long-term wealth and regular accounts for flexibility. Step 4. Automate it. Here's the part nobody talks about, because it's not flashy, but it's where most of the real wealth gets built. Once that 10,000 is invested, I don't just walk away and never think about it again. I add to it consistently. I'd turn on automatic contributions, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, automatically buying the same funds again and again, no matter what the market is doing. Even if it's just $50 or $100 at a time, that habit matters more than picking the perfect fund. This is how I'd turn a lucky 10,000 into a serious, long-term investment habit. Step 5. Where does crypto or fund stuff fit? Let's be honest. You're probably wondering, what about crypto? What about that stock my friend won't stop talking about? Here's my honest answer. If I were just starting with $10,000 in 2026, I'd keep 80 to 90% of it in that boring, diversified plan we just walked through. Then, if I really wanted to, I might take 10 to 20%, so $1,000 to $2,000, and treat that as my experimental money. A bit of crypto. A few individual stocks I actually believe in after doing my own research. If it does amazing, great. If it goes to zero, my future is still fine because the core plan is solid. That's how I'd protect myself from FOMO while keeping my long-term wealth on track. Step 6. What this could grow into. Let's imagine something realistic. If I invest that $10,000 into a diversified, stock-heavy portfolio and just leave it alone for 20 years, growing at an average, market-like return, it could roughly double a couple of times over that period. Now add this. I'm also automatically investing a few $100s a month on top of that, every single month, whether I feel like it or not. That's how regular, everyday people, teachers, nurses, baristas, students, end up with six-figure portfolios over time, not from one magic stock pick, from a simple, consistent system. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to be rich to start investing. You don't have to get it perfect. You just have to start and then keep going. Most people will talk about what they would do if they had $10,000. Very few will actually open the account, pick the simple funds, and set up the automatic investments. The difference between those two groups is not intelligence, it's action. If you're still listening, that tells me you actually care about your future. So here's your next step. Pause this right now. Log into your bank or brokerage and decide on just one thing. Building your starter emergency fund, paying down one high-interest debt, or buying your first broad index fund. If you want to follow up where I walk through actual example funds, percentages, and how to set this up on screen, drop a comment and I'll make that next. And if this helped you, hit that like button, subscribe, and send this to the one friend who's always talking about starting to invest someday. Your future self is going to be so grateful you started today.